The guy I had a crush on in high school got expelled to protect his childhood sweetheart. Years later, when I became the most sought-after agent, I found him waiting tables at a restaurant. He didn't remember me, but I still offered him a chance. "Ethan," I asked, "do you want to act?" He followed me. 3 years later, I transformed him from a waiter into the newest superstar. Then the girl he'd protected all those years came looking for him. Welcome to my channel. If you like this story, please click to subscribe. There are more wonderful stories waiting for you to listen to. Chapter 1. Ethan never mentioned Emily's return. I learned about it through a trusted media outlet that caught footage of him grocery shopping with a girl. The outlet's owner, someone I'd funneled enough annual gratitude feast to fund a mid-sized company, handed me the video as a professional courtesy. The paparazzi had clearly stalked them for hours. Ethan wore full disguise gear, unrecognizable to anyone but those closest to him. The girl beside him in casual clothes made no such effort. Even through the grainy, dated footage, I knew her instantly. Emily, our high school classmate. Ethan's childhood neighbor. Back then, Ethan dominated every academic ranking, effortlessly landing top 10 while I clawed my way to first place through endless study marathons. Teachers pinned their college hopes on him until senior year, when he permanently disabled a gangster harassing Emily after school. The incident blew up, even reaching the Education Bureau. The thug's powerful family demanded blood. Emily never testified. The school expelled him. My last memory of teenage Ethan was at the bus station, his tall frame disappearing into the crowd. I watched him scan the sea of faces, searching, perhaps, for someone who never came, before boarding the coach to City A with a bitter smile. I hid among strangers to witness his exit, though he likely never knew I existed. We met again 7 years later at a routine celebratory dinner. He carried a bottle of 1992 Lafite when I gasped, "Ethan?" He froze. "Do we know each other?" I laughed. Life had sanded his edges into quiet resilience, but his beauty remained, a striking contrast to the pretty boy actors I managed. His eyes held stories, that sharp brow line arresting attention with every glance. I didn't mention high school, just handed him my card. His blank look at my name confirmed I'd been invisible to him. "Your looks are extraordinary," I said. "Ever considered Hollywood?" 3 days later, he called. With his face and my resources, Ethan's rise was inevitable. He became my star client, cooperative, drama-free. Until today's video. I redialed his number. No answer. Grabbing keys from my desk, I drove to his home. The security gate recognized my birthday code, a joke-turned-habit from when I'd leased him this developer-discounted townhouse. "This way," I'd teased. "You'll never forget your agent's birthday, or the gifts you owe me." He'd chuckled. Never changed the passcode. The door hissed open. I knocked once more before entering. Empty. Except for the girl in Ethan's oversized t-shirt. Bare legs trembling. "Emily. Where's Ethan?" I asked from the foyer. "Who are you?" Her eyes darted to my shoes, or rather, her stolen slippers. My personal pair. Now contaminated. I smiled. Pristine in stocking feet. "Lily. Ethan's agent." "Hello. I'm Ethan's agent and his girlfriend. Could you please tell me where Ethan is?" "Ethan and I got together a year ago. We're both adults. And when you mix mutual attraction with my long-standing crush, which I never bothered hiding, things just happened. He'd always sensed my feelings, though neither of us addressed it directly. Our relationship started 2 years back when I negotiated his first major brand deal right as his career began taking off. During the dinner meeting, I kept my composure through endless toasts until the contract was signed and the clients drove off. That's when I finally lost it in the parking lot. Ethan took me home and stayed to help. Half conscious, I heard him sigh by my bed, murmuring, "Lily, you're relentless." Coming from someone as reserved as him, that rare hint of concern made me laugh despite my spinning head. I'm somewhat legendary in the industry, climbing from assistant to top agent before 30 by mastering every social nuance. When he chuckled softly at my laughter, I met his gaze and quipped, "If I weren't relentless, how else would I get you to the top?" His expression shifted, voice softening. "Lily, I'm lucky to have found you." That was the first time he ever thanked me. Things escalated naturally after that. Adults with needs. Working side by side daily, you know how proximity breeds opportunity. After 7 years, I finally caught the moon I'd chased since adolescence. But now, watching Emily pale at my words, I idly wonder if my moon has his own celestial fixation. Maybe this understudy should exit stage left. Ethan returned to find me sipping tea on his sofa. Emily stood trembling by the opposite couch, eyes red-rimmed like some bullied ingenue. He froze in the doorway, grocery bag in hand. "Ethan!" she whimpered, rushing to his side. Ignoring her, he asked, "Lily? What brings you here?" I studied him. Though addressing me, he positioned himself protectively near Emily, a detail only someone who knew him intimately would catch. Setting down my cup, I pulled up the paparazzi footage on my phone. "It's not what it looks like," he said after a glance. "This is Emily. My blood relative?" I arched a brow. "Neighbor's sister. Her family's in trouble, she needed help." Emily's eyes welled up theatrically. I'd already dug into her background during the drive over, the mediocre college grad working dead-end office jobs. Who'd ghosted Ethan after getting him expelled years ago? Now her pyramid scheme-embroiled father had fled town, leaving her desperate enough to gamble on Ethan's lingering guilt. Apparently, she'd bet right. Nodding, I cut to the chase. "What's the plan? Let her crash here indefinitely?" Emily flinched as Ethan frowned. Rising, I decided for him. My team already contained one PR disaster. "She can't stay, too risky. I'll have my assistant arrange an apartment." Locking eyes with him, I added, "And Ethan? Stay out of her affairs. That's your agent talking, and your girlfriend." "Please don't misunderstand," Emily interjected with practiced fragility. I hadn't eaten in days when I arrived. Ethan took me for hot pot, but the smell clung to my clothes, so I borrowed his shirt while washing mine. She displayed the shopping bag like Exhibit A. "He just bought me proper clothes. I'll change and leave immediately." Wouldn't dream of burdening him further. She scurried toward his bedroom, clearly familiar with the layout. I let the pathetic act slide. After a decade in Hollywood, such amateur theatrics barely register. Ethan moved closer. "Lily, I didn't hide this to save it." My smile stayed polished, honed by years of masking emotions. "You could have booked her a hotel or wired cash. Instead, you brought her to your penthouse, let her parade around in your clothes, and allowed this little display." I collected my purse. "First offense, consider it forgiven. I hope you know your boundaries." As soon as the words left my lips, Ethan emerged from the bedroom. Emily froze upon seeing our tense standoff, though I caught the faintest upward twitch at the corner of her mouth before she schooled her features into demure submission. "All set, Em," she murmured, eyes downcast as she approached. "Shall we go?" I grabbed my car keys, pausing at the threshold to glance back. "Oh, Ethan? I won't be returning here. You know how I feel about contamination. Toss everything I've left behind." After dropping Emily at a downtown hotel, I flew straight to Milan for a major runway event with another artist I manage. 7 exhausting days later, Ethan met me at JFK. "Everything goes smoothly?" he asked as I massaged my throbbing temples in the passenger seat. I laughed dryly. When have I ever failed? True enough. His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. I moved to the Harrison Heights apartment, Replaced all your things exactly as they were. The unspoken apology hung between us. First offense gets a pass, I said, watching Manhattan's skyline blur past. Next time, I won't be so lenient. We both understood the rules. At 32, I'd long abandoned the notion of policing partners' interactions. Either they chose me, or they didn't. Ethan had navigated countless industry temptations flawlessly during his rise to fame until now. The crisis hit during my bout with H1N1. Waking from feverish delirium to 47 missed calls. My assistant's text screamed urgency, check trending. There it was #, Ethan Emily dominating Twitter. Grainy footage showed them on set, Emily skipping alongside Ethan's steadying presence. His hands cradling her ankle after a misstep. That damning bridal carry. Spin it as mentor-protege dynamics. I rasped to my PR team. Throat raw. Highlight Ethan's history of crew kindness. Draft talking points about workplace camaraderie. Mobilize our online teams by 10 p.m. 2 hours of damage control later. I stared at Ethan's contact photo. The property manager's call provided temporary distraction, some parking dispute at his old condo. But as Manhattan's skyline blurred outside my penthouse windows, the real issue remained. However we framed this, however many influencers we paid to shift the narrative, the truth glared brighter than Times Square billboards. The Harper family's golden boy had slipped. And Emily's wide-eyed innocence? That was the most dangerous performance of all. I paused for a moment, then quickly collected myself. My apologies. I'll be right there, I said. I hadn't been back to Ethan's house since Emily's last visit. At the residential complex, I spotted the vehicle parked illegally in another resident's assigned space. It was clearly Ethan's car, though he hadn't driven it in months. Without access to the keys, I peered through the windshield at the collection of plush toys and cutesy dashboard decorations, telltale signs of Emily's aesthetic preferences. He'd let her take over the car entirely. A humorless smile tugged at my lips as I told the property manager beside me, "Have this towed. I don't want it anymore." The keypad lock on the 32nd floor penthouse beeped rejection when I entered my birth date. After a beat, I tried 0712 instead, Emily's birthday. How did I know? Because throughout high school, Ethan would visit my family's bakery every July 12th to personally select strawberry cakes for her. I'd watch him through the display case, textbooks forgotten as I traced the intense focus softening his angular features. Back then I'd thought, what a fortunate girl Emily was. Perhaps that ancient envy had calcified into this stubborn obsession. Even now, decades later, my first instinct upon seeing him remained visceral possession. But today would end that. The lock chirped acceptance. I didn't step beyond the foyer. The penthouse Ethan had gifted Emily smelled of unwashed laundry and takeout containers. My fingertips brushed the marble console I'd sourced from Italy during the renovation years ago when Ethan was filming overseas. Now his leather jacket lay tangled with Emily's crop top on the sectional we'd chosen together. Domestic bliss incarnate. Normally unflappable, I found myself swallowing against sudden nausea. Emotions could be compartmentalized, but biology betrayed me. Sour bile rose as I slammed the door. At the airport, I booked the next flight to Ethan's current filming location. The crew greeted me with practiced deference when I arrived on set. A producer sidled up during craft services, nodding toward the trailers. Between us, Lily, that girl who's been trending with Ethan? She's been shadowing him like a lost puppy. Surely not your doing? Just a temporary assistant. I deflected, smiling through the lie. His trailer reeked of Cool Ranch Doritos and peach Snapple when I opened it. Emily's pink jacket draped over the passenger seat. I turned to find Ethan's new assistant gaming on an overturned apple crate. "James," I called softly. The boy startled, nearly dropping his phone. "Let Ethan know I'm here." The folding chair they brought smelled faintly of Ethan's cologne. I fell into uneasy sleep, waking to find his bomber jacket draped over me. Without hesitation, I removed it and sanitized my hands with clinical precision. Ethan's jaw tightened as he watched the antibacterial wipe disappear into my purse. "Where's Emily?" I asked. He didn't insult me with excuses. "Lily, I can't." Of course he couldn't. Emily Clark, his high school sweetheart. The girl he'd risked expulsion defending. The living monument to his teenage valor. How could anyone expect him to abandon such a paragon of nostalgia? From my bag I produced the termination contract. His eyebrows lifted at the buyout clause. Then higher still at the non-compete rider. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across his carefully maintained facade. The Harper family lawyers had outdone themselves. That was an employment contract for Emily Clark. I said. The PR statement has been released. Since we're presenting Emily as your newly hired personal assistant, we can't risk exposure. Have her come sign the paperwork. Frankly, you've needed a PA anyway. Given your familiarity with Emily, this arrangement should work. Salary deductions will come from your account. Determine her compensation yourself. Ethan froze, clearly unprepared for my compliance. His reaction amused me. I maintained professional courtesy with just enough levity to avoid coldness. Why the shocked look? Did you expect me to stage some dramatic confrontation or claim ownership? His brow furrowed as he scrutinized me, searching for hidden motives. If my emotions were that transparent, I wouldn't have survived this industry. So my man was sneaking around with his first love? Men are replaceable commodities. Ethan still held value. His earning potential outweighed any sentimental attachment. We're business partners. Ethan. Two sides of the same coin. I tapped the contract. I delivered this personally to remind you of my cleanliness standards. Color drained from his face. He remembered how I'd replaced every furnishing Emily had touched in his penthouse. Now I was replacing him. Henceforth, we'd maintain strictly professional manager-talent relations. My intervention now stemmed from contractual obligations, not personal investment. Even breakups deserve proper closure. For the first time in years, genuine bewilderment crossed his carefully curated features. He'd grown accustomed to my handling every aspect of his career. That era ended tonight. He took an involuntary step forward, hand outstretched in uncharacteristic vulnerability. Lily. Our moment shattered as Emily stormed in like some rom-com heroine, positioning herself protectively before Ethan. Back off. Lily. I came here voluntarily. Leave Ethan alone. I spared her the dignity of eye contact, addressing Ethan instead. Have the signed contract couriered to headquarters. Alexia will handle subsequent arrangements with your team. My parting nod held finality. Goodbye. Later. Reviewing demolition photos of Ethan's apartment, the space I'd personally designed years ago, I snorted. Let Emily deal with the rubble. My demolition crew had been thorough. Alexia intercepted me post-board meeting weeks later, tension lining her features. It's Ethan. Paparazzi keep catching him with Emily, innocent enough individually, but the pattern's obvious. Fan forums are buzzing. His core demographic won't tolerate this indefinitely. I gazed at the skyline, unperturbed. Pair him with the new signees. Cross-promotion should redirect attention. The entertainment machine never stopped churning. Sentimentality held no currency here, only leverage mattered. Ethan would learn this truth, as I had years before. Let the rookies absorb his rebellious phase. Every star eventually burns out. My portfolio would ensure newer, brighter constellations always waited in the wings. We need to push the new talents quickly. Ethan has held the top spot for too long. He's forgotten how he climbed up here in the first place. Ethan's schedule was packed. The agency had signed several newcomers, tasking him with mentoring them on screen. He brought them to variety shows, live streams, and even dragged them into TV dramas as supporting cast. The rookies quickly gained public favor, though I got dragged through a hashtag storm accusing me of exploiting Ethan's misfortune to his fans. Monitoring the trending metrics, I immediately deployed our PR team to discreetly promote the newcomers under the guise of enthusiastic new fans. The next time I heard from Ethan, he sent a photo of an four drip without context. I couldn't tell if it was a plea for sympathy or a protest against his grueling schedule. After some thought, I replied with a digital gift card. Later, I scrolled past a post showing agency staff visiting him in the hospital. While others stood or sat in chairs, Emily perched on his bedside, her hand resting on his shoulder, cheek nearly brushing his, a picture of intimacy that screamed girlfriend energy. I snorted. The backlash was inevitable. By the time it reached my desk, Ethan's top fan accounts had united to demand Emily's termination. Every star had their core fan circles, some even agency-managed, commanding armies of casual followers for everything from event turnout to damage control. These days, fans tolerated a lot: dating, tax scandals, even mediocre albums. But Emily crossed the line. At events, she'd accidentally adjust Ethan's hair or lean into him during photo ops. The current uproar started when a longtime fan, the kind who'd followed Ethan since his backup dancer days, the one who'd built his first fan page with gritty rehearsal photos captioned "AC breaking through concrete," clashed with Emily publicly. Ethan defended Emily, gutting the very fans who'd propelled him from obscurity. Disappointed, I summoned him. "You're the one who assigned Emily as my assistant." He frowned. "Now you want her gone? Context matters. Ethan, your fans, not your childhood sweetheart, are why you're here." He studied me before laughing bitterly. "Is this about our breakup? First you bury me under rookies, then bench me. Now target Emily. Petty revenge. Lily?" Leaning against my desk, I finally understood his photo, a probe for weakness as newcomers threatened his status. The realization hit: the ambitious man who'd shadowed me for years, even dated me, might have been acting all along. Maybe he saw our relationship as transactional, now reverting to Emily as a strunker. "We're business partners. Ethan, take my advice or don't." He left, too accustomed to his throne to remember who built it. When Alexia entered, I was already drafting his demotion strategy. She stood cautiously to the side. I tapped my fingertips rhythmically against the desk surface, my habitual thinking gesture. After about 5 minutes, I reached my decision. Did Stellar Media previously try to poach Ethan? Alexia blinked in surprise before hesitantly responding. "Are we considering cutting Ethan loose to collect breach penalties?" "But his commercial value." I cut her off. "He's a PR disaster waiting to happen. Commercial value comes from fan loyalty. If he can't grasp that fundamental truth, he shouldn't be in this industry." Pausing deliberately, I added, "Ethan's probably wanted out for months. That staged confrontation today? Textbook exit strategy." He likely assumed burning bridges would force my hand. I smiled faintly. "Let's play along. Encourage him to initiate termination. We'll milk every last drop of value before cutting him loose." Alexia's suppressed frustration transformed into visible enthusiasm. "Got it," she chirped, practically bouncing toward the glass doors. Her hand paused on the handle as she turned back with unexpected sincerity. "Lily, do you still care about him?" The childish question caught me off guard. Meeting her gaze squarely, I chuckled. "Alexia, I'm a businesswoman." The rose-tinted glasses from our shared youth had shattered long ago. My tolerance stemmed purely from calculated interest. His initial betrayal went unpunished because he retained utility. I protect assets until their ROI peaks. Now, my smile hardened. He chose this path. The termination catalyst came during Ethan's birthday fan meet when supporters pelted Emily with water bottles. His white knight act, shielding tearful Emily while confronting fans, sent the event spiraling. Prematurely evacuated attendees maintained eerie online silence, leaving casual followers bewildered until Ethan's resignation request. Curiously, he bypassed Stellar Media's courtship for independent ventures. "I can't waste more time here. Lily, He lamented with performative sorrow. I studied him coolly. The same lips that once gushed about owing me his career now framed our partnership as deadweight. Conveniently forgotten, the restaurant dishwasher I plucked from obscurity. Legal swiftly negotiated terms. His penalty, 70% of net worth, left just enough to launch Harper Studios. Such reckless confidence. Bred from underestimating this industry's realities. May you achieve glorious success. I toasted, knowing his fleeting popularity peak would crash. Post-announcement. Fan site moderators I'd cultivated quietly shuttered accounts. Polite farewells masked collective disillusionment while our corporate account tweeted bland well wishes. Newly emerged superfans spin narratives about company sabotage, cushioning the exodus. But the true collapse came when paparazzi exposed his Emily romance. Without my media firewall, his perfect boyfriend facade crumbled. He'd always credited talent over my 5,000-strong bot army that manufactured trends. Public perception bends to whatever narrative floods feeds. Today's saint becomes tomorrow's villain through selective clips and planted stories. I abstained from attacks. Past prophets deserved professional courtesy. Yet his self-destruction outpaced any sabotage. The fatal misstep. His PR team's ill-conceived childhood sweetheart's narrative. Attempts to rebrand Emily as some long-suffering muse backfired spectacularly. Loyalists tolerated invisible girlfriends. Not elaborate sagas threatening Ethan's availability fantasy. The more they romanticized their ordinary college fling, the faster devotees abandoned ship, proof that in this carefully curated world, authenticity is the ultimate liability. He protected her and got expelled. Years later, they met again. Ethan was now a top-tier celebrity while Emily had hit rock bottom. Yet Ethan disregarded past grievances, shielding Emily even when it meant clashing with fans and his former agency. Ah, what heart-wrenching devotion. Too bad the PR campaign backfired spectacularly. WTF? Why did I ever think standing this brainless idiot was about his intellect rather than looks? Someone from Ethan's team better explain how this dumpster fire qualifies as romantic. Disgusting. All those hours I spent streaming his content and boosting engagement stats just to be part of their twisted game? Now I get why fan club leaders bailed, should have listened when they warned us. Am I the only one noticing Emily looks kinda frumpy next to Ethan lately? Gotta hand it to Lily though, turning him into this marketable Prince Charming takes serious hustle. That Ice Queen knows her branding. Wait, Emily Clark? The same girl whose dad ran that pyramid scheme bankrupting my parents? Now she's playing celebrity wifey? Somebody start spilling tea. The backlash snowballed beyond control. Honestly, I stopped tracking it after Ethan vanished from award shows. Next time I heard about him? Stage accident during a concert. That half bottle of sulfuric acid left his left face mutilated, final nail in his career coffin. His last trending hashtag got buried under newer scandals within hours. Our final encounter happened at a car wash. The masked attendant froze when he saw me, instinctively turning to hide his scarred profile. I pretended not to recognize Ethan even as the manager nudged him forward, just another minimum wage worker nervously accepting my keys. I didn't ask about Emily. Didn't linger. Simply smiled like he was any stranger before walking toward the lobby. The boy who'd once been my entire universe now existed only in jagged skin fragments beneath surgical masks. My teenage moon had set long ago. The end.